And welcome to Visual Radio. Tonight, my scheduled guest is James Fleming Rasmussen, and we will talk to Frank Dell'Estrito about Quicksand a little later tonight. Quicksand with Mickey Rooney, Gene Cagney again. We did this already, Peter Lorre. Yeah, so we've already talked about this movie, but it's a oldie but goldie that's coming back. And let's see, upcoming on Visual Radio. Last week we had a great interview with Allison Galen. That was a lot of fun. And on March 17th, Saturday night, I was over at WATD Marshfield. You know, we're getting wonderful feedback. So what I'm going to do is shut the door and get back on the air. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good evening, welcome to Visual Radio.
Hello, this is James Fleming calling from Copenhagen.
James, I'm so honored to have you on the phone, sir.
Thank you, Joe.
I was talking to engineer Phil Green today. He was talking about your records.
Okay.
He's a legendary engineer around here who did New Kids on the Block and Beaver Brown.
Oh yeah, I remember those, yes, sure.
I used to work with the late Jimmy Miller, the Rolling Stones producer.
Okay, yeah.
And we camped out at Phil Green's studio in Rhode Island, which is the next, as you know, it's the next state down from Massachusetts.
Right, yeah. Tell me, did you send me the remastered CD of Bobby F's Love Games album?
Oh, you didn't get it yet. Yes, I sent it out probably a week ago today.
Okay, well, I'll probably get it tomorrow or the day after, something like that.
So sorry, I was hoping you'd have it by now.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I'm looking forward to listen to it, Joe.
So you told me you were playing out live. What's the name of your band currently?
James Rasmussen's Trio.
Ah.
James Fleming's Trio. I mean, my name is Rasmussen also, so I call myself James Rasmussen here in my country. And playing, we've been doing it for 17 years now, and playing like 40, 50 gigs every year.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah, it's very good.
Now, how far do you travel? Like this week you went out to do a few gigs, right?
Yeah, I traveled this past weekend. I traveled about 920 kilometers.
And how was were you happy with the shows?
Yeah, it was the second show we did up in northern end of Denmark was an excellent crowd and 2 extra numbers and standing ovations, so it couldn't be better. That was wonderful.
Well, that's beautiful. Beautiful, Rasmussen.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Your sets, what do they consist of?
They consist of songs that I once sang with a very famous Danish vocal group called the Four Jacks, which I was a member of. And everything we touched, we existed for 8 years, and everything we touched was a success. So 4 years ago, the record company EMI released our entire productions in a box CD set with 4 CDs in it, 107 productions. And it went straight to #1 on the official Danish charts. And RAM was released, and it was, no, not the RAM, another band, was #1 in 36 countries, but here in Denmark, Four Jacks was #1, and they were #2, so that made me very proud. So people still remember that time and love the songs. All the songs we sang with the group has become evergreens today.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive. You were in the Four Jacks before you were producing in America?
Yes, I was. We go back a long time. Four Jacks existed from 1956 till 1964. And in 1965, I came to America and I lived in Hollywood for 14 years.
In Hollywood. So, where did you work with Bobby Hebb?
In Hollywood.
Oh, okay. I thought it was in New York. You worked in Hollywood.
No, Bobby flew out to New York, to California and stayed with me in my house in Doheny Estates in West Hollywood for 3 weeks as we were working on the album in the Columbia Studios. Hollywood.
What was the name of the estates again?
Pardon me?
What was the name of the estates?
Doheny Estates. That's where I lived at the time.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So you lived with Bobby?
Bobby and I had a great time together those 3 weeks. I'll never forget it, you know. He called me the Prince of Denmark, and I called him Admiral Hebb.
Admiral Hebb.
Yeah.
Did he tell you that he played for Madame Chiang Kai-shek?
I think I remember something about it. Yeah, I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, because he was in the Navy, and they had a band called the Pine Island Pirates.
That's right, yeah.
And I'm in touch with one of those fellows, and they played for Chiang Kai-shek and his wife.
Okay, yeah.
There's a rich history.
Then at a later point, I went out to New York and stayed at Bobby's house in Symkus, New Jersey. I stayed with Bobby for a couple of weeks while we did some things together, and then I flew back to Hollywood again. So Bobby was a very dear friend of mine.
Oh, he was a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Did you do some productions at his house in Kreskill?
No, we just fooled around and got drunk a lot. And, you know, but just endured our friendship, you know.
Well, I loved the Love Games album. I felt it was a very important R&B record that should have gotten a lot more notice.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know what happened really. It was out of my hands after I produced it. Columbia took over, and that was it. But I liked the album, you know. As I said, we had a great time in the studio. Bobby was fantastic when he was doing his lead vocals. He had so much feeling in his lead vocals. It was unbelievable. You know, he knocked out everybody in the studio.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Such a gifted man.
Sure. Yeah.
The Lovebird Has Flown to me sounds like, it starts almost like country pop. And I thought it could have been like Kenny Rogers or Helen Reddy. It should have, and Anne Murray. They were all reigning with that soft rock at the time. I felt
that's right.
you had merged the country pop with the soul, because at the beginning it's country pop, and at the end he's Ray Charles-ish.
Yeah.
And it was amazing kind of, and he did that throughout the album with you. He would touch different genres, jazz.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Even A Better Love, there's sunshine pop and that kind of 60s, very hip sunshine pop that bordered on jazz.
Yeah, that's true.
I just thought, boy, if you guys had done 3 or 4 albums, it could have really been a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, it would have progressed, I'm sure of that, yes. But, you know, I didn't have to give Bobby any directions in the studio. When he was in the vocal booth, he just did it all himself, you know. I didn't have to talk to him about nothing, you know. He was just so soulful and cool when he did his vocals. I never forget that time.
Now, Richard Rome has been, he's done a lot of arranging. Did you choose him?
No, it was something that Bobby already had to put together before he came out to me in Hollywood.
Ah.
Those were already done.
I see.
The recordings, you know. But
Now,
the arrangement itself was written out for people to play, you know.
yes. Yes, Bobby was very precise.
Yeah.
Very precise. Was Sly and the Family Stone working in the next studio?
Yeah, they were working right next at the time.
That must have been a trip.
Yeah, it really was. And the guys from the Buffalo Springfield was working in the other studio too.
It's just an amazing time.
Yeah, it really was.
Amazing time. I just love what you did because Bobby had done that final Phillips single with Gamble and Huff.
Mm-hmm.
They were just starting to get their Philly sound together.
Sure, yeah.
So he went from Jerry Ross, and Jerry, I emailed Jerry today. He was excited that you and I were speaking.
Okay, yeah.
Jerry did the original
Very
Sonny.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, after Jerry, there was a couple of other producers. Then Gamble and Huff did the 45. And then Your Love Games is the chronology.
That's right, yeah.
So one of the first records I ever bought was Echo Park.
Oh, yeah, you told me, yeah, sure.
Keith Barber.
Yeah, that's right.
I was 15 years old, so lovely production, but it was controversy about that record.
Yeah, it really was, and you know, it did very well on the chart, on the Billboard Top 100. But in the Midwest, they boycotted my record because it said question mark with the war in Vietnam, and you know, America was very involved in that war with Nixon, and his government was very involved in that war in Vietnam. So the whole Midwest, they still believed that all the rednecks still believed that it was okay for America to fight in Vietnam. But on the East Coast and the West Coast of America, they all knew that it was so wrong. So all the big radio stations, they banged away on my records, you know. But the Midwest boycotted it.
That's stunning.
What a shame. Yeah, that was so stupid.
But when you get boycotted, it means they're paying attention and listening.
They're not playing, the radio stations are not allowed to play it.
Stunning. We've come a long way.
Yeah, I'd say.
Things have changed. I was in a restaurant the other night, and the manager, I mentioned I was interviewing you, he's a fan of your metal records.
Of what?
The metal records you make, the hard rock.
Okay. Yeah.
How did you go from Bobby Hebb and Keith Barber to hard rock?
No, I didn't do any metal records. You mistaken me from another engineer called Fleming Rasmussen. That's not me.
Oh, I'm so sorry, because it was on your biography.
No, not that one. That's Fleming Rasmussen did some things with the group Metallica.
Yes.
But that's not my work.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood that.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So after Bobby,
person.
but that's okay. I will actually send corrections because I wrote for that company for many, many years.
Okay.
And people get confused and they read it and they think it's gospel truth. I'm glad we're talking.
Sure, of course, yeah.
After Bobby Hebb's record, what was your next project in L.A.?
Well, then I did a singer-songwriter album for Reprise Records called Rasmussen.
Oh, your own record.
Yeah, with my own songs, and I had T-Bone Burnett playing bass on my record, and Matt Moore playing piano, and Jim Keltner played the drums. So it made some noise, and but didn't go on the charts or anything like that. But it was a very fun production.
And stylistically, was it different from the Four Jacks?
Yeah, it was pop rock, you know. It was different from the Four Jacks. It didn't have the harmonies and and all that.
So, after Los Angeles, where did you head out, James?
Well, I stayed up in the Bay Area at Muir Beach in Mill Valley for a couple of years, and I went back to Hollywood, and then in 1980, I went back to Denmark and got married and have a son, and still involved with the music. I will become 75 years old next time in August. So I'm living the good life now.
At 75, well, you're 74, but still playing 50 gigs a year, that's a daunting task.
Yeah. At the last year in April, me and my wife took a trip to Hollywood, and we saw all my old friends over there. That
Oh.
Stayed with his house. He's living in Bakersfield now.
And you stayed with
For a
Keith.
couple of days.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so great. When you were in Mill Valley, did you know the Jefferson Airplane?
Yeah, sure. I remember those.
Marty Balling, because he was living up in Mill Valley.
Yeah. So anyway, I hadn't seen Keith for 36 years, but we just continued where we left off, you know. It was fantastic. It was like we'd never been apart.
Now, is he married with kids?
Yeah, he's got a wife and some grandchildren and so far, and he's gigging with his wife. He's got a few gigs in Santa Barbara and in Bakersfield, you know, in weekends. You know, that was cool. Cool to see him again. He's doing his thing, you know.
Did you see him play?
Yeah. He went out. He had a gig in Santa Barbara at a restaurant there, and he was playing there with his wife. And when he was done, we sat outside in the summer evening. In the evening there, it was nice and warm, and jammed a little, you know, for about a half an hour. People were loving it, you know. You should have been there, Joe.
I would have loved it. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Anyway, it's late here in Copenhagen, so I'm looking forward to get the Bobby Hebb, remastered Bobby Hebb album, Love Games.
We will.
Thank you so much for taking an interest in all this, Joe.
Oh, I love the music. I'm honored that you called in tonight. I really am, James. And thank you so much for the great work you've done.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll be in touch.
Nice evening. Yeah.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
James Fleming Rasmussen, the producer of Love Games. And that's a scoop for us here that he was in L.A. with his wife. And Keith Barber, who had the 1969 hit Echo Park. Very controversial Vietnam War era tune. And I'm very excited that we got to talk to James.